Hello, my name is Brian Bouns, and I'm an 18-year resident of East Oakville on Claremont Crescent. Oakville's vision and values are an important part of what makes the town so special. Live, work, play, livable Oakville. Mayor Burton's compelling vision to be the most livable town in Canada. If you were anything like me, those values were part of the reason for choosing Oakville as your home. It's why we love living here. I love this town and my neighborhood. And so I'm sorry to tell you that I have important and concerning news to share with you and with all the residents of East Oakville. It's about developer proposals to build a gigantic warehousing complex on the west side of Winston Churchill Boulevard, directly adjoining our residential neighborhoods. So what's the big deal about warehouses? Plenty. I'm going to share with you some distressing news, some uncomfortable facts that you haven't heard elsewhere. Not from the town of Oakville, not from the residents' associations, and most certainly not from the developers themselves. We first learned about the Winston Churchill warehouse proposals last fall, and I think it's fair to say that most residents were curious and concerned about the possible impacts. What might lie in store for all of us? I started looking into comparable facilities, and that is what led me to discover DSV Global Transport and Logistics in Milton, Ontario. In February of 2020, DSV moved into their new 1.1 million square foot Canadian head office and state-of-the-art logistics facility. It's a lot to take in. When DSV opened 2 years ago, it became the largest multi-client logistics facility in Canada. It also earned a respectable 8th place in North America, which is pretty impressive given the sheer scale on which American companies operate. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. DSV may not remain #1 in Canada for very long, because the proposals to build on Winston Churchill Boulevard come in at a whopping total of 1.3 million square feet. You heard correctly, 1.3 million square feet. So here we have it, our first uncomfortable fact. The Winston Churchill proposal isn't just any old warehouse. It's the largest of its kind in Canada and top 10 for North America. It's the largest multi-tenant logistics facility in Canada, built right next door to a residential neighborhood. Brilliant! When I say right next door, I really mean it. Some homeowners are only 6 meters from the proposed development site. 6 meters! And the buildings at 40 to 50 feet tall are only about 85 meters distant from homeowners on Claremont Crescent, Acacia Court, and Deer Run. That's much less than a 9-iron shot. Heck, that's not even a sand wedge. It's clearly much too close. At least the good people of Milton had the sense to locate DSV's flagship warehouse in an area zoned for heavy industrial development, with the nearest residential properties a kilometer away. Now, to be precise, the Winston Churchill proposals are from 2 separate developers, located side by side, who just coincidentally happened to submit their plans for approval at roughly the same time. I'm going to continue referring to them as though it was one massive complex, because in the final analysis, the noise, the traffic, the air pollution, it really doesn't matter whether there are 2 owners or 1. Now, the town of Oakville zoned these lands for employment. Specifically, they're zoned as E2, light industrial, which in the town's own words is supposed to mean minimal impacts on the surrounding area. The town's official plan says the uses in the business employment areas are intended to be predominantly within enclosed buildings and provide for office uses and light and service industrial operations with minimal impacts on the surrounding areas. Let's focus on that for a moment. Here's uncomfortable fact number 2 that you aren't hearing from the town or the developers. Hey Google, What's the definition of a mega warehouse?
The mega warehouse is a very large building, typically 200,000 to over 1 million square feet, designed for major regional distribution and storage centers.
So this isn't just any old warehouse project. This is a high-end mega warehouse. Okay, so what are we really looking at here? I mean, mega but minimal? Is it a minimal mega warehouse? Or maybe it's a mega minimal impact warehouse? Come on now, who are we kidding? Seriously, in what alternate universe is situating the largest mega warehouse in Canada right next to people's homes a recipe for minimal impact? And trust me now, I'm just getting warmed up. As I share the rest of this story, you will come to see that minimal impact is a bunch of baloney. Time for uncomfortable fact number 3. This isn't really a warehouse proposal. It's a distribution center. Hey Google, what's the difference between a warehouse and a distribution center?
In regards to warehouses, the products are stored for a long period. That is, until the product is needed in the market. On the other hand, a product is sent to the distribution center for a short time.
According to the dictionary, a warehouse is a large building for storing things. But in the 21st century, warehousing has evolved to meet the needs of just-in-time delivery and ruthless supply chain management. They can call this proposed development a warehouse, but this isn't a place where stuff is going to sit around for long. What it really is a high-volume, high-traffic hub for distribution and transshipment. That means a lot of trucks. And with trucks come noise, traffic, and pollution. Which brings me to uncomfortable fact number 4. The Winston Churchill proposals total almost 250 loading docks intended for use by diesel transport trucks. Doesn't that seem like a lot? That is a lot. That is enormous. Take another look at DSV in Milton. That facility, currently the largest of its kind in Canada, only has 60 loading docks on each of 2 sides, totaling 120. Winston Churchill is planning nearly 250, more than double the capacity of DSV's flagship mega warehouse. And let's take a look at some other big warehouses up in Milton, which, by the way, are built sensibly on land which was zoned for heavy industrial use, close to a rail corridor, the 401 highway, and Pearson Airport. The nearest residential property is over 1 kilometer away. If you have the patience to count, you would see that none of these big facilities have anywhere near the 250 loading docks proposed for Winston Churchill. Now, why do loading docks matter? Firstly, because the existence of so many docks tells us the business plan involves a lot of traffic in and out of the site. An endless stream of trucks, noisy and polluting, punctuated by the crashes of trailers coupling and decoupling, and with a serenade of legally required backup beepers. And second, loading docks matter because they make a mockery of Oakville's quaint notion that work will take place predominantly within enclosed buildings. At this kind of facility, the real action is the coming and the going, the loading and the unloading of huge numbers of trucks, all of which is noisy and all of which takes place outside. Did I mention 24/7? Did I mention 24/7? Uncomfortable fact number 5. These facilities are fully 100% intended for 24/7 operation, 365 days of the year. 24/7 is a fact of life in today's logistics industry. There's no way these facilities would get built for daytime operations, which is kind of peculiar, given the town's commitment to minimal impact. And even more peculiar because The Ontario definition of light industrial excludes 24/7 operations. The Province of Ontario Environmental Land Use Planning Guidelines, which have been law since the 1990s, provide industrial categorization criteria in which Class 1, or light industrial, is defined as excluding 24/7 operations, excluding frequent movement of heavy trucks, and excluding noise audible off the property. Now, wait just a minute, I am so confused. The town says light industry means predominantly indoors and minimal impact. The province says light industry means no noise off-site, no heavy trucks, and no 24/7. So how could our reality be so disconnected from the official Oakville plan and the provincial guidelines? I feel like my brain is going to explode. When invited to comment on the apparent disconnect between Oakville zoning and the provincial guidelines, the Town of Oakville Planning Department said, "The D6 guidelines are a broader provincial level document, and the town's zoning bylaw contains site-specific regulations. These documents have different perspectives, as such cannot be expected to be structurally consistent." Okay, allow me to summarize. I've shared with you some quotes taken straight from the town's official plan and from the province's land use guidelines. Somehow, according to the Town of Oakville zoning, it is currently considered acceptable use to build the largest multi-tenant mega warehouse in Canada on the edge of a residential neighborhood with hundreds and hundreds of loading docks, despite it being 100% clear that it will not be minimal impact. It will not be predominantly enclosed. It will not be daytime only. And it will most certainly involve extensive movement of goods and heavy trucks. Just saying. There is so much more we could talk about. Impacts on traffic congestion, air pollution, or how about the local wildlife, such as the beaver and ducks which reside there. But there just isn't time to get into it all. So I'm going to finish with one last uncomfortable fact. Number 6. These developments are not going to help our property values. That probably seems quite obvious. When I talk with residents, it's always their number 1 or number 2 concern. These proposed developments are going to be bad for our property values, and the damage will not just be confined to the properties bordering the sites. It will affect the entire community and up Winston Churchill Boulevard. And once these developers have invested millions and millions of dollars, you know the business imperative will be to maximize the utilization of their facilities, to squeeze out every last dollar of revenue. Volumes and traffic and noise and pollution are only going to get worse over time. Here's my bottom line on the situation we're in. The bylaws and zoning that would permit Canada's largest multi-tenant mega warehouse complex to be built on these lands are a mistake. They are just plain wrong. You only need to look at examples of the town's other as-of-right permitted uses to see how out of place this warehousing would be. An art gallery, a daycare, a financial institution, a veterinary clinic, business offices, a private school, a restaurant, food production. Or we could just build Canada's largest multi-tenant 24/7 industrial warehousing operation with 250 loading docks. I've laid out my 6 uncomfortable facts. It's not a pretty picture, and it would be easy to get discouraged. But it is abundantly obvious that there are many, many permitted uses for this commercial land that would be true to Oakville's vision and values and would make for good neighbors in a residential context. 99 out of 100 would be just fine, but a mammoth 21st century industrial scale warehousing operation is not one of them. We need all of you to be together on this, to tell our representatives that this is wrong and it would be a mistake to put the interests of 2 developers ahead of the interests of hundreds of area residents and taxpayers. Some of my remarks may have left you with the impression that I'm blaming the town or blaming the province or the developers for getting us into this situation. I want to be really, really clear. I'm not blaming anyone, and neither should you. Blame is not going to help us. Accountability is what we need. Accountability is what we should all be demanding. So please, most importantly, share this video far and wide. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors about it. Get the word out. This is a senior citizens version of TikTok. I need you all to like it and share it and make this message go viral. And once we get all our neighbors in the loop, we're going to need everybody to voice their concerns. The best thing we can all do right now is to make sure that our voices are heard. Write to our mayor and write to our town councilors. We need them on our side. I don't know if we can stop this development, but I do know this. We have no chance without the support of Mayor Burton and our councilors. And even if we fail, even if this unwelcome and ill-conceived development moves ahead, we need our representatives to scrap and press and fight for every conceivable mitigation to help reduce the impact on our homes and on our lives. Our representatives are good people. They want to do the right thing, but there are many priorities competing for their attention, and we all know that squeaky wheels get the grease. If you're not already a member of our Joshua Creek Residents Association, please get signed up. The JCRA is really leading the charge on this issue. In particular, JCRA's president, Elizabeth Chalmers, is smart and knowledgeable and very hardworking. We are fortunate to have a strong residents association, and a time like this is when we need them most. In just a moment, I'm going to put up some important email addresses and URLs. You might want to hit pause so you can jot them down, or visit the JCRA website for more information. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can scroll down to the comments section for the shell of a sample letter that you can copy and paste to send to your representatives. My name is Brian Bouns. I live on Claremont Crescent, and despite what you heard from me today, I am friendly. If you see me around, please say hi. Best wishes. Keep well.